And ones, we are in here today. Listen, chosen ones, I had to come in this evening. Ooh, when I tell I've been moving, I mean just moving, going. But one thing I do know how to do is take my naps. I know how to take my naps. You hear me? I don't care if it's for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I am going to take me a nap. Okay? How are you all doing? I just came, thought I'll check in with you all to see if you have any questions. It's Q&A session. I hardly ever do this, so if you want to ask me something, if I have an answer to it, or if I can give you some advice, this is the time to do it. I'm going to offer my services to you, and I'll be here for probably 30 minutes. So if you have any questions that you would like to, ask me, just put them down in the chat. Hopefully I can read it. See the sun bright. I'm out here by the lake. So this is hi Dominic. Hi Dominic, how are you doing, dear? My daughter bought me these coat shades for Mother's Day. So I'm just sporting these. She bought me these. My oldest girl bought me these shades for Mother's Day. They're always so thoughtful, my two daughters. How are you all doing? So this is the Q&A session. So if you have any questions for me, you can ask. If I have an answer, I'll let you know. If I don't have an answer, I'll tell you I don't have an answer. Listen, I don't have all the answers. I've experienced a lot, but I don't have all the answers. And I'll be glad to say I don't know. I learned to say I don't know. I take the pressure off myself. Some people just like to pretend that they know. I'm not one of those people. I'll tell you in a minute, I don't know. I don't know. Please help. So how's everyone doing? This is a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, let me know. How is everyone doing? I know, right, Dominique? Yes. Sometimes, we have to speak on that because a lot of people just think that, mothers are this, person to be worshiped, and everyone doesn't have that type of relationship with their moms. Most of us are messed up because of our mothers. But that's why that's why I talk about healing a lot, because we have to understand our mothers were raised by someone. They were raised by someone. So, if they don't have any new knowledge, they're going to repeat the cycle. That's why it's up to you, chosen ones, to break the cycle. It's up to you to stop the cycle. That's just like my mother, who I talk about often. I don't have any ill feelings towards her. My heart is genuinely pure towards her, and I've forgiven her. She's deceased now. But my goal was to not use a drug. My goal was to never to use a drug because I saw my mother. So I had to break that cycle. I couldn't repeat the same thing she did, right? And sometimes, there were other choices I made as far as, with my children, as far as, being in relationships, certain things that, I really wanted to not repeat. But sometimes if you don't have a person that's on the same, that's equally yoked, you're bound to, you're prone to repeat some of those cycles, right? That's why it's a journey. It's a spiritual journey, right? It's a spiritual journey. So you have to be okay with the journey. And you can't beat yourself up when, you're enlightened, and when you get new information. You can't beat yourself up. You can't be down on yourself, right? Yep, you can't be down on yourself. It is a journey. We're all trying to, figure it out. We're all trying to learn. We're all getting new information. We're not born with the information that we need. That's why it's called life, and that's why it's called an experience. We get to experience, and we get do-overs in life. It says just yes. Yes, exactly, Dominique. Yes, they have to. One thing we cannot do, and that's how I am. You know, I have 1,000 reasons. Look, I got a million excuses. I could blame my parents. I could blame my dad. I could blame my family. I could blame everybody for some of the choices that I made. Right? I could blame everyone, but that don't give me an excuse. I could say because I watched my mom and dad do drugs, that'll give me a pass to act a certain way. But no, that doesn't give you a pass. That doesn't give you a pass to be a certain way. No, that's you don't get excuses. You don't have an excuse to stay stuck. I'm not big on excuses because if I could watch something happen all of my life and never partake in it, right? And never partake in it, that means that it could be avoided. Yes, that means it could be avoided. But you have to make a decision. That means you have to make a decision. Even if things don't go how you want them to go. Because, you know, some of us, you know, oh, wow, I got 11 people looking and 11 likes. There was that number, 1111. I just noticed. What I was getting ready to say. Just because you've experienced certain things in life, that's not an excuse to stay there. So why do you think a 7-year-old does not tell anyone she was? Oh, look, Greta, that's easy. A 7-year-old is a child. A 7-year-old, you got to remember, a 7-year-old doesn't have the capacity to really understand what is being done to them, right? They don't understand. You know, they know something somebody is doing may not feel good, but they don't understand right and wrong. That is a baby, right? They don't understand. Adults can manipulate children easily. That is why she's not, and that is why she's not going to say anything. Unless you just have one of those children that the parents just repeatedly told them, nobody's supposed to touch you here. Nobody's supposed to do this to you. Nobody's supposed to do that. Unless you're one of those parents that drills it in a child's head until they get it in their head. But if no one is talking about, you shouldn't have to, and that's another thing, you shouldn't have to talk to a 7-year-old about sexual things. But I understand in this time and age, you have to talk to them in a certain way that is not too detailed, right? That is not too detailed. And unfortunately, when you're talking about a 7-year-old, unfortunately, it's people who is in close proximity to them. And that's another reason they're not going to say anything. It's their uncle. It's their brother. It's the cousin that comes over every weekend. It's a family friend that is always there. They don't understand. They don't know. A 7-year-old don't know, right? Especially these children nowadays. I don't know, and I can't put everybody in the box, but when I was coming up, because I'm different, right? Because I was a chosen one, I kind of sensed at that age, I remember, I sensed the perversion on people. I sensed, because I was actually touched when I think I was about 7 or 8. I was actually, like touched, like almost, I guess the uncle. If I didn't have this sense that I have, if I wasn't a chosen one to sense that something was going to happen, right? Oh, the sun, I can't take these off. Oh, I got to keep them on. That sun is bright. If I wasn't a chosen one, where I had this intuition and this knowing, I could have been molested at that age. I had an uncle that tried to touch me in my area, but he ended up putting his hand on my thighs, and I sensed something else was going to happen after that. But that's because I'm a chosen one. No one never talked to me. My grandmother never talked to me about nobody's supposed to do this, nobody's supposed to do that. But because I had a sense, I had this intuition, I had this strong intuition, and I walk into that now. I walk into that. This is the same intuition when, that's why I say you're chosen. You have these gifts, but see, the enemy will come in your childhood to try to take these away. But I remember when DCF was the Department of Children and Families. I don't know what they call it now, but I talk about it often. But I remember when they came to my mom's house, because she had left us home alone, and someone had called the state on her. And I remember when this lady came to the house, I was the one that went to the door. My little self went to the door, and I felt something on this lady, and I took off running. I took off, but that was in me. No one gave me that. I just felt that she was there for something. And I ran like I was on the track field. Thank God for my grandmother who lived down the street. I ran to my grandmother's house. But that is what I'm talking about, like as a chosen one. That been in me. That been in me. No one gave me that. And see, that's what the enemy wants to take away. That most of young girls who've been molested and touched, they're chosen. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He don't care about you being young. He don't care about you being a baby. Why you think abortions is on an all-time high? He's trying to abort the promises of those babies. That's why abortions is something to be looked down upon. If you had one, you don't hate yourself for it, because you made that decision out of ignorance. But when you kill a baby, you're killing a destiny. You're killing purpose. That's why why you think the enemy is after the unborn? He's after the unborn, because if he could abortion, interrupt, kill, steal, destroy, if he could abort your promise, come on now, if he could abort your promise, you won't be able to fulfill the purpose that God has for your life. Yes. Let me see. I can barely. I'm out here in the sun. My pastor said out of 10 girls in the room at least. Yes. Yes, Greta. Exactly. I'm here on the lake, so yes. And that's true. That's true. Hey, faith over fear. This is just Q&A. If you have any questions, if I have an answer for you or some advice, I'll give you some advice. But I'm just, we're just talking. Yes, so I had that in me. I had that in me. I've always had that in me. No one gave. I just had that sense. And the enemy tried to come after that. The enemy wanted me not to believe that I had this gift. Yes, he'll contaminate. He'll send people in your life to abuse you, to confuse you, and use you, so you can't really focus on the gifts that God has given you. You won't be able to focus on that. Having a little picnic. Yes, you won't be able to focus on that. He wants to steal, kill, and destroy. Oh yes, there could be. If you come from a family, if you come from Jacqueline, I believe, if you're chosen, Jacqueline, if you're a chosen one, you have to believe that you come from a bloodline of chosen ones, right? You come from a bloodline. Whatever your gifting is, your family has that same gifting. That's just like Joseph and his family. Remember Joseph? How his family, he was he was a dreamer. He had these dreams and stuff. And, his brothers, they had the same type of dreams. But the difference between the chosen one and everyone else now in the family, The chosen one's heart is pure. Their heart is humble. Joseph's brothers, they were gifted too, but they were arrogant and prideful. The chosen ones, we have a heart that we forgive people, even though they be dogging us out and stuff. Even though they mistreat us, they dog us out, they abuse us, right? Even when we were broken. This is how you know you're a chosen one. Even in your brokenness, when you've mistreated people, right? Think about it. When you've mistreated people and God woke you up, right? God woke you up. Guess what? What did you do? Did you go back to them and apologize? Most likely you went back to them and apologized if you were able to. Because God knows that'll hold you back. Chosen ones are humble. Yes, Dominique. Well, God bless you, whatever it is, dear. Chosen ones are humble. You know you're a chosen one because people can dog you out. People can dog you out, talk about you, treat you bad. Like you look at yourself like, why did I forgive them for that? Because you're chosen. You can't live with that toxicity in your heart. You can't carry around that heaviness because that heaviness is too much of a burden to bear. Yes. Yes. Dominique, they will dog. When I tell you, chosen ones, let me tell you the reason how you know you're chosen too, Jacqueline. You know you're chosen. Although your other family members are gifted in the same giftings, right? They got the same type of gifts. You're chosen because you carry a light. What you do is look, everybody can see you. Listen, you got people around you doing things worse than you do, right? They doing things worse than you do, but everybody got their eyes on you. Everybody is talking about you. Everybody come up against you. You feel like you in the family, but you don't belong to the family. That's another way you can tell. You feel like I'm of them, but I'm not like them. That's another way you can tell. You're chosen. You just always felt like you were the oddball, like you're out of place. That's another way. You just try to fit in. Try to fit in. People get mad at you for no reason. Hello, Spirit 777 from France. People get mad at you for no reason. People don't like you for no reason. This is how you know you're chosen. You don't know people from, you don't know them folks. But they just don't like you. Ooh, the bug. They just don't like you. That's how you know you're chosen. That's how. Hello, Doreen. Listen. That is how. Yes, for no apparent reason. They and you can feel that I used to feel people. See, I embrace it now. I'm okay with it because once I accepted my gift and what I feel and what I know, it don't bother me. But before I came into the knowledge of who I was and who I am, it used to bother me. I'm like, I didn't do you no harm. I didn't do you no nothing. I be like, I didn't do anything to you, and you hating on me. I'm just as gentle and kind. I get along with everybody. But guess what? I learned to let people keep their stuff, and I still shine bright. I used to dim my light too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I used to dim my light when people had any type of towards me. I just go in like a little turtle. I used to go and tuck my little tail in and hide like a little hit dog. I don't do that foolish no more. I don't do that. You gonna get this light, and I say that humbly. You gonna get this light. I'm not bowing. I'm not going to hide. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not going to dim my light for you. And that's what you need to do as a chosen one. You don't dim your light for nobody. You don't dim your light for nobody. Chosen, Greta Lee, chosen to be the light of the world. To be the light in this dark world. We need light. We need people that's going to do what's right, do what God has called us to do, chosen to serve others, while everyone is going against and don't want to help people. They want to be negative. They want to be mean and hateful and racist. And no, you're chosen to be that light. You're chosen to be the light. You're chosen to fulfill the call that God has on your life. That's what you're chosen for. That's what you're chosen for. That's what you're chosen for. You're chosen to be the light. You're chosen to help with the fulfillment of purpose. That's what you have, a purpose. That's what it is. To fulfill the purpose, the reason why you're here on earth. You have a purpose to fulfill, whether you want to believe it or not. You didn't do nothing, Greta. That's what you didn't do nothing. Once you come into your understanding of who you are, then you will be able to understand the purpose and the call that God has on your life. You will be able to walk that out. You will be able to walk it out. Oh, Greta Lee, I feel it. I feel it before I see it. It's just a spiritual thing. Yes, I used to do that too, Greta Lee. I used to dim my light because I wanted to be included. But once I realized I'm not meant to be included, I'm meant to stand out, I'm meant to shine, I don't do that anymore. That's why I have this channel, to help you to learn that you gotta heal, and hopefully you come into being you come into your fullness of understanding who you are as a chosen one. I don't just say this because there's a lot of people talking about their chosen ones, this, that, and the other, and I'm talking about God's chosen ones. I'm not talking about those ones who believe in other stuff. I'm talking about the chosen ones for God, to live in the light, to be the light. You can't be hidden. You can't be hidden. Oh, yes, it's very spiritual, Dominique. We all on a spiritual journey. We have to believe we're spiritual beings before we're natural. We're just having a earthly, a human experience. And see, people don't teach us this stuff, People don't teach us this stuff. They show it in the movies all the time. They show it in the movies, but we don't want to believe it. This dark world understands that spiritual things is more real than the natural. You have to make a chair in your mind first. To make a chair, you have to think about it in your mind. It's a spiritual thing. Then naturally, you build that chair. You get the wood and you carve it and you do what you need to do to manifest it, to bring it from your spiritual to the natural. You see what I'm saying? Think about it. A baby, we were spirits before we were conceived in our mother's womb. We were spirits first. We was in the spiritual womb before we became naturally. We got to believe this stuff. We don't want to believe it because it's just like normal. It's just like a process of getting here. No, we're spiritual beings first. We're spiritual first. And I believe that more than ever. When I had my awakening, I'm like, ooh, this thing is bigger. Oh, that's okay, Greta. You always have to, let me tell you something, dear. You seek God in all things. That's what I tell people. You seek God in all things, right? And when someone is giving you information that's going to help you transform your mind, and it's a spiritual message. It's from God, Jesus Christ. I don't believe in no other God. I try not to be too preachy, but I have to let people know where I stand. Right? I have to let people know where I stand, what God I'm talking about. Because we all talking, a lot of us talking about God, and which one are you talking about? So I'm going to specify. Let me be specific, right? The one who they call Yahshua, Elohim, Jesus Christ. Okay? God the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. That one. Okay? Yes, Greta. And it does. Whenever you are receiving information that is going to deliver you, right? That's what the enemy does sometimes. But I still say you always take everything to God. Even what I'm telling you on this live right now. You take everything. Because this may not be something for you. It may not be. Oh, little boy's running. This may not be for you. Okay? Yes. I mean, once I realized that, I'm like, oh my goodness. And that's why, listen, that's why so many people are going through things, because we're in a spiritual battle. We don't want to believe it, but this dark world knows. This world knows. Okay, this world knows the spirit world. Even someone in the Word of God has said the children of this world is more craftier and wise than the children of light. What that scripture? Find that scripture. And it's true. The children of darkness, they're more wise and they're more prudent, because we're so religious, like we don't want to believe anything. And they got all the power. They know all the everything. They are just wiser and more prudent and understanding. They know the spiritual world. They talk about it in the music industry all the time. But we the ones sitting here thinking that's fake. Oh, it's a conspiracy. Or it's this, or it's that. No, they serving their God. We don't want to tap into what we can do with ours. Because their God is a God too. The God of this world. Their God too is the God of this world. Even the Lord speaks about it. He is a God too. He is a God. And we sit here, we hear these people in the music industry talking about they want to thank God. They ain't talking about the same God. No, they ain't talking about the same God. They talking about their God. Talking about theirs. And we sit here, we listen, get entertained by it. And this stuff is getting more wicked. They're not hiding things. When they doing their concerts, they represent Satan. They putting Satan all up in their, lights and everything. The concerts are more dark. Like, y'all got to pay attention to this stuff. You got to pay attention. They know what they're doing. They're ushering in their God. But when you pray, when the so-called, what they call religious folks, okay, when the so-called Christian or believer or saint, when they pray, they speak in tongues. People want to look at them like they're crazy. But these people chant, they speak in tongues, they do everything the kingdom of light does. They copy everything. They have rituals, they have their colors, they have their everything. They got order in the kingdom of darkness. But every time the believer want to do it, oh, that's false. Oh, that's this. Oh, that's a false this. That's a false that. No, that's why you're supposed to test the spirit. And that's why you take everything to God. He'll let you know what's real and what's not. He will let you know. He will let you know. But y'all, you have to believe this spirit world is real. That's how people get away with crimes and not get caught. They get away with crimes. They get spiritual crimes. What that is? There's a little place in the water by the lake. Like this big old little ripple in the water. It was kind of strange. Oh wow. But yes. I want to show y'all. Oh, I'm sitting out here. I'm waiting on my daughter. I'm gonna show you all the lake where I'm at, and it's so beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? That is so beautiful. That's where I am, by the lake. But yes, you have to believe the spirit world is real. It is so real. Mm-hmm. Yes, we got to believe that. Yes, they very organized, Dominique. We the only ones out here don't want order. We don't take all that. It don't take this and all that. Yes, it does. It takes this, that, and the other. It does. Yes. Yes. And see, a lot of people who don't come into their spiritual understanding, I've always said, and this was before, and I heard someone else say this, but I had got this knowledge. Most of the people who are in these asylums or crazy house, and they deem them as crazy, those people are spiritually gifted, most of them. But see, they don't have nobody to educate them on what it is that they're seeing. They want to medicate these people, and they don't need to be medicated. They just need to understand that they have a gift. Yes, they're hearing people. They're hearing voices. Yes, they do. They are hearing voices. Yes, they're hearing voices. They do. Oh, they're hearing voices. They are seeing things. They really are seeing things. But see, we don't want to, because naturally, when you operate in the natural, it sounds crazy. And that's what the world will do. They will deem people who hear voices and see things as crazy. No, people are not crazy. They just need to understand what they're dealing with. They're more spiritually sensitive than anything. And unfortunately, since the church is not equipped to teach on that level, guess what? The world is calling these people crazy. Yes, the world is calling them crazy. They're not crazy. But that medication that they're giving them will make them crazy after a while, because that medication is altering their mental status. You don't need to have a PhD to understand spiritual things. I know what I'm talking about. I've experienced it with family members, okay? I've experienced it. Yes, through knowledge. That's all we need, Doreen, is knowledge. That's how I got the information that's how I got delivered, through knowledge. Nobody didn't have to come put hands on me. Nobody didn't have to come rub me down with oil, which I did. I did go through deliverance. I did went through a deliverance with my friend. But before then, I started getting the knowledge, and I started doing, I went through a deliverance process. Very beautiful. This is Lake Okeechobee. Beautiful Lake Okeechobee. Call it Lake-O. But yes. Greta Lee, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know that answer. I can't speak on that. One thing I can say is, if I don't know something, I would not speak on that. I really don't know. I can't speak on that because I'm not God, and I'm not the one who has the final say. Because what we see as wrong, right? What we see as wrong in our natural eyes, we don't know how God sees that. And I think everybody based that scripture on thou shalt not kill, right? I think everybody based that scripture, somebody unaliving themselves based on that scripture. But I don't know. Yep, I don't know. I don't know. But yep. But yeah. And we're all battling things. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're all dealing with things, and some people can handle things more than others. Some people, the pain and the struggle and the heaviness just be so unbearable, they don't want to live anymore, right? They don't want to live anymore. So I can't say if that's right or wrong. I know how I was brought up and what the church used to say was wrong and right. How I was brought up, they condemned that. But when I came into my understanding, my answer is I don't know. Because I'm not on the other side. I don't know why that person or people lead themselves to do such a thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. I know we are in a spiritual fight, and some people are stronger than others. Some people could handle the wiles of the enemy, right? Some people could stand face forward and fight the enemy. Some people can't fight like that. Chosen ones, we were built to fight. We can fight. And that's why we had to endure so much. God showed me. The Holy Spirit showed me. That's why as a chosen one, that's why you went through so much. And it's not because you were doing something wrong. Because a lot of times we want to ask God, what do we do to deserve this or that? But what I got from my revelation, let me tell you what I got from my revelation. This probably saved some of y'all too. What I got from my revelation is, because you are a chosen one, God had to train you. He told me I had to go through training. I had to go through training. You had to go through training. That abuse was training. Them people leaving you out, that was training. Them talking about you, your spouse abusing you, your parents rejecting you. That's training. You're going to go through that as a chosen one, as a person who's carrying light. God was equipping you. He was equipping you to endure and go through what we're going to go through in the end times. I don't care what nobody says. It's going to be some end time. We can ignore that or not. And the ones who've been enduring, just imagine when things start getting so unbearable, unshakable, and you haven't gone through anything, you're not going to be able to withstand what you see. Look how people were freaking out over COVID. I'm sure the chosen ones, we didn't freak out. I know I didn't. As a chosen one, I did not freak out. I did not fear, not one time. The enemy tried to drop the spirit of fear on me. Guess what? I combated that. I went home and I prayed and I fasted. Because somebody else was trying to put their fear on me from work. I rebuked that. And I was okay since. Everybody else fretting and afraid. Chosen ones walking around this joint like, yeah, what? We walking around here bold. What? If I leave, oh well. If I stay, oh well. That's how I was walking around. I don't have a choice. I don't have the last say. Look, I don't have the last say. Yes, people around here fretting and worrying, and no, I wasn't about to do all that now. I wasn't, no. Let me see what time it is. Yes, people around here yes, I'm not who. I wasn't finna walk around here and people so fearful. Just fearful, like that's something you can't control. And that's what God was training the chosen ones. That's why you went through a lot of stuff. And that's why he wants you to forgive. You went through those things, so when times come like 2020 hit, like with COVID, right? When things hit like that, you will be able to stand strong. You won't fold like everybody else. You will be the person that's, holding everybody else up. You will be the person that's praying for everybody. You will be the person that's believing for everybody. You will be the person that's giving out supplies, and you being the hands and feet. That's why you're here, Greta. You want to say chosen for what? You're asking chosen for what? When these times come, you will be able to stand in the gap for people. You will be able to bring people to Christ. Like, listen, you're going to have to believe. You're going to have to give your life to, not you have to, but it's best, or, you can lead them to God. Because if they see you and they know what you've been through and you're not fretting and you got faith, they're going to be like, oh, I want what she has. Yes. That's why most of you all, that's why he's dealing with y'all with your finances too. Yes. That's why he's talking to a lot of us about finances, because he wants us to get out of debt. He wants us to put ourselves in position where we're not consumed with the things of this world. He don't want us to be consumed. He wants us to be freely, to be able to move freely. If he say get up and go, he wants you to be able to get up and go. Yes, he don't want you to be tied down. And see, this world is notorious for keeping us in debt. This world is notorious for keeping a noose around our neck in debt. Student loan debts, we got mortgages, car payments, this, that, and the other. And there's nothing wrong with that. But he's dealing with most of us. I know he's dealing with me. He's dealing with most of us about our finances to get out of debt. Yes, he is. And it's for that reason. He wants you all to be free. He don't want you stuck. Yeah, he don't want you stuck. Look at that sun. So beautiful. That is so beautiful. He don't want you all stuck. Yeah, he don't want you stuck. He don't want you bound. He don't want you owing people. He don't want you, focused on. He want you free. Not just in your mind, but naturally too. It is, Doreen. So beautiful. He wants you free. The sunset is so beautiful. So peaceful out here too. I love the water. I love outdoors. One thing about it, these bugs, love bugs out here. Yes, he wants you free. I believe so too. I believe in that, Dominique. I really do. I believe in that. I don't believe that everybody on this earth who's walking amongst us is human. I really don't. I really don't. I've seen evil. I don't believe every seed came from I'm gonna be honest, I really don't. I don't believe everybody walking amongst us is human. And human, they're pretending, but they're not all human. I'm gonna be honest. And sometimes I believe I be seeing some folks too. I'm not gonna lie. I believe sometimes I be seeing people like, I don't think you amongst the humans. Oh, trust me, we gonna listen. The movies are not. See, that's why. Yeah, that's why we have to stop watching TV. Let me tell you. Listen, that's why we got to stop watching TV, because see, TV and these movies are getting us desensitized. A lot of us are so desensitized, we're not going to believe what is about to start manifesting on earth. We're not going to believe it because we're going to think it's so sci-fi that we're not going to think it's like happening. We're going to be so zombified, We're going to be so zombified, we're not going to believe, like, are these people walking amongst us? Oh, but trust me, Dominique, I don't believe everybody. I don't believe everybody walking amongst us are human. No, there's too many stories of people seeing different things and different people, and no. And you got to believe, look, you got to believe that some of the crimes that are being committed. You can't think that's human. Some of the atrocities that are being committed. You can't think that humans are doing some of these crimes. Come on now, I don't care what it looks like on television. No. I really don't. I'm gonna be honest. You remember that movie, Dominique, Alien Nation? They were trying to tell us then. And I believe alienation. Aliens are demons, okay? They alienation, yeah. They aliens, all right. Demons. That's what I believe. Listen, these things, I'm telling y'all, all these movies, what that movie is, Wrong Turn. I think that was Wrong Turn, where they eating them people, draining their blood and hanging them up. See all this craziness? Look, they be telling us, they be getting us prepped, but we don't want to believe it. They be getting us prepped. They get us prepped. We don't want to believe it. For real. Oh, for real, Dominique. Listen. Listen. We sit back and we be entertained by this stuff, but we're not paying attention to why do these people think of this type of stuff. You got to see, that got to be something spiritually. Just think about, in order to create a movie, that thing has to be in somebody's spirit. How could a person create a movie so vile and disgusting? That's in their spirit. Who in their right mind is going to create a movie? You got to be a dark person to create a movie where they draining and sucking somebody's blood and eating their brains and all this craziness. That's, yes, okay. Look, Kiosha, exactly. I didn't see that. My children was telling me about that. And I'm like, that's something they trying to, I heard, when I was in church Sunday, somebody was telling me that they trying to pass some type of law that where you can just carry openly without permit or something. I don't know how true that is. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but they were mentioning something about that, the purge, like a real life purge. I'm like, Lord, I'm not going to, fear and get all, bent out of shape. I try to keep tabs on what's going on, Yeah. Yeah, somebody was telling me that in church Sunday. We were sitting there having a little mom's conversation. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, I'm not going to live in fear. But that's going to be disastrous. I see in the enemy just up in the ante. He's up in the ante with all this craziness. That's what he's doing. Look how beautiful that is. The sunset. Yeah, he's up in the ante. But I have to get ready to go get my daughter in a little bit. Yeah, that is so beautiful. And you can't live in fear. But you just have to be prepared. Yeah, you have to be prepared. And see, and that's another thing, God is not in the business of doing things the same. Like, when we were brought up, business looked different for God. He's doing business different. It's not business as usual. Ever since COVID, it's not business as usual. It's not business as usual. It's the unchurch that he's using. He's using the unchurch. And there's nothing wrong with going to church. What I mean by unchurch, he's using the people that have not been brought up in church. Because they could be more powerful. Because sometimes people, when they brought up in church, they be a little too religious. And the people who've been unchurched, they got more power and they believe more. Nobody kind of put out their fire, Nobody put out their fire. Nobody put out their fervency for God. Because, sometimes when you moving too quick in these, like, organizations, church organizations, people tend to want to dim your little, I won't say your light, but dim your power. They want to tell you you're not ready. And God is raising up folks. And he telling them they ready. But because the person is not perfect, because they don't look like what the people want them to look like, they want to tell the people to sit down and don't speak. But no, God is using folks who yeah, he's using people who unchurched. And that's what, and the world is going to come up against that. You know, I ain't gonna say the world, church is going to come up against that. They're going to call people false prophets and this, that, and the other. But you will know them by their fruit. You're going to know them. You'll know them. You don't need nobody to tell you who a false prophet and who is not. You will know them. You will know them. Because they're not going to be focused on material things. They're not going to be focused on material things. And the power that they have is not something that was given to them. You're going to know these people. The power that they have is not going to be something given to them. Because you know, a lot of these people who go into church, who in church, they go into other sources to get power. They're not going to God. Let's tell the truth, shame the devil. They go into other sources. Yes, they go into other sources trying to get power. They're not going to God. They're not going to God. They got back rooms with lamps and oils and all these crazy stuff and tables and other little deities, and they getting power from otherwhere. They getting the counterfeit spirit, okay? But these people, they gonna be so powerful that you gonna think they false prophets, because they gonna be so powerful, because God is really doing something new in people. Just like the enemy up at his ante, the enemy, see how this evil getting more and more wicked and dark. God got people who's gonna be just as more powerful. That's just like the showdown they had in the Bible. Remember the little story about when they had the showdown, and I don't know who that was, where they had they little gods, and you know, God was turning serpents into, you know, turning sticks into serpents, and the devil had his people, you know, his little wicked people doing the same thing. What the story is. But they were doing everything that God folks were doing. They were doing everything, every performance, they did it. Until the fire consumed evil, until the kingdom of light, you know, until the Holy Spirit consumed the evil serpent, or the fire swallowed or consumed. I don't know the whole story, but somebody know the story I'm trying to tell, where they had the showdown. They had the showdown, and the kingdom of darkness was doing everything the kingdom of light was doing. I don't know if it was Moses. It was one of them prophets. It was one of them. Somebody know what I'm talking about. But yes, and the reason you knew the difference between the two, because God's prophet, what he was doing, the fire ended up consuming the evil. Yeah. So, but these people are not going to be normal. They're not church. They're not into the church with the shenanigans and all this different stuff. He's doing something different. Hey, Crystal. He's doing something different. And a lot of people are going to be against it because it's not what they're used to. It's probably going on now. Yep. You know, they're going to be judged because they're going to have tattoos. I mentioned this before. They're going to have tattoos. They still going to look like they belong to the streets, but they got the power of God on them. They still going to be looking thugged out and stuff. And God he's looking at the heart. He's looking at the heart. I don't know if it's Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't know if it's that. Ooh, these little bugs getting to me now. But yeah. So I'm sure it's happening somewhere, because I saw a few of them, you know, on TikTok. A few preaching, tattooed brothers on TikTok preaching. But the only thing about that is we got to keep focused on God. We can't allow the following. We can't allow somebody subscribing and unsubscribing or numbers dropping. We can't get caught up in that, right? And that's what, you know, God showed me when he blew on my channel. Because for some of you, I don't know if you know that, you know, I had last October, I had only 200 subscribers, 200 followers last October. And from October to December, my channel grew so quick, I didn't know what was going on. God just blew on it out of the blue. It just grew overnight, quickly. And he's doing that for a lot of people's channels because he's really trying to reach different people where they are, right? He's trying to reach so many people. He's using people to reach certain people that's only going to listen to your voice, listen to my voice, right? That's why he's doing it. You got other people that's on YouTube. That's why you see all these prophetic voices popping up, because he's trying to get people drawn to him through people. Because he tried to come get some of y'all himself, but see, y'all was, y'all were too busy trying to deny him. Look at that sun. That's so beautiful. Y'all were too busy denying him. So he's sending people like me and other messengers, to really get you all to listen. Because sometimes we got to see somebody. We almost kind of like the people from the Bible. What is the children of Israel? They wanted a God. They wanted to have a person. They want to have somebody there to be over them. So God got to almost kind of like send somebody so you can see and you can hear, and listen to. Because he tried to come get you all spiritual, but y'all was kicking them down. You were kicking them down, pushing them down. They want to hear it. Yes. So that's why he's raising up so many voices. And he don't want you all to be listening to so many, because sometimes when you listen to too many voices, that tends to confuse you, because everybody's message is different. You don't want to be double-minded. So if he sent you to somebody to listen to, just listen to them. Don't go feeding on different messages, because that'll leave you double-minded. You won't know what to believe. Sometimes people's messages scare you. If you know your spirit can't eat what they're doing, don't listen to them. Some people I can't listen to, because I'm not at that point to consume that yet. I'm not spiritually at that level. I know I had a friend, she was in I got a friend, she's in deliverance ministry, and she was recommending these books for me to read. I say, no, I can't read them right now. I got to grow to that level, but some of the stuff she was telling me, I wasn't ready to eat on that level spiritually, and I know that. That's what I'm saying. You got to know yourself. You don't want to bite off more than you could chew, because God may not have you there yet. You don't want to grow too fast. That's what's happening in the church. People are not waiting to be promoted spiritually. They feel, because they don't make being in the pulpit out of a career instead of a calling, and that's why they end up in all these different types of affairs and stuff in the church, because you got to be called to be able to handle the warfare that comes with looking out for somebody's soul. Yes, you got to be called for that. It looks good. People make it look easy, and the ones that make it look easy, they're called for that. They're called to minister on that level. But you all, I have to go. It was nice talking to you all. I have to go get my baby. I'm so glad you all listened to me and hung out with me here on the lake. So beautiful. Let me just show you all the way across. All the way across. Yep. It's nice and beautiful. The sun is setting. Yeah, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. But it was nice talking to you all. Be blessed, okay? I'll come back later on.